What's up, crypto community, and welcome to a new video. Today I'm gonna be talking about the drip garden. So this is also one of the layers behind the animal farm, and this was the Kickstarter behind the manor farm back in January of this year, transitioning into the animal farm today. This investment vehicle, I think, enabled so many of us to be very comfortable in the animal farm, whereas it gave us a lot of liquidity pool tokens in order for us to invest into the farm and to keep going. I mean, me personally, this happened to me, and I'm sure many of us who entered early back in December of 2021, if I recall correctly, it was around the mid-December. So all the early adopters are heavily rewarded today. But with the constant decline that we've been experiencing in the garden, many in the community think that it's gone, that it's dead, that there's no way back. And I'm coming here today to tell you that the garden still has potential. You just have to take a quick look of everything around it. So this one you don't want to miss. Let's go. Alright, so as I mentioned in the intro, the garden started back in December. So it's the earliest player of the whole animal farm that you see today. And the reason being is that they wanted to create liquidity pool tokens, drip BUSDs, right, in order to join the manor farm back then and to farm the ref token. And also, since they created a new pool of drip on PancakeSwap with BUSD instead of BNB, in order to fortify that pool, people were rushing in to the drip liberation contract, basically exchanging their BUSD for drip BUSD LP tokens, and then going to the garden where they would enter with those drip BUSDs, and then they'd earn 3% on a daily basis. Of course, it all depends on the value of the contract, the value of the plant today, and you're getting, remember, this is also a game theory where you're earning 3% of your plants in seeds and not of the dollar value that you invest, because the plant value has to decrease as the contract moves forward if the contract balance is not moving upwards. So since we were back then sure that the animal farm is gonna add more utility to drip as a network, we all rushed in and entered the garden, and might I say it was a great success. Now if I go to the scheduler, you can clearly see that it was having a huge uptrend all the way to 800k LP tokens. All of this was locked, meaning the pool on PancakeSwap for drip BUSD was heavy on liquidity back then. It was crazy. It was all leading up to the release of the animal farm. Now, today's decline, and this has been happening ever since, it has to be correlated with the whole macroeconomic factor of the whole ecosystem. So first of all, drip BUSD is correlated with the price of drip. The price of drip has been on a steady decline ever since all the hiccups were happening in the animal farm. So that's one. Two, you have the fact that we entered the bear market. So high risk on assets will be liquidated first. So people are just liquidating their earnings in the garden, so taking away that LP, splitting into to drip and BUSD, taking those stables, DCAing somewhere else or exiting altogether, and most probably also selling their drip in the process or adding to their faucet. So that's the second factor. The third factor, of course, you have the delays in the animal farm with everything that has been happening, with the exploit that happened earlier when the first version of the piggy bank launched. So the pause on the animal farm that is still ongoing, and we hope that it's gonna go live within 2 weeks. And all of this is also hurting the garden. And remember, decay gets a bit stronger as there's no more capital in the garden, meaning the contract is being reduced and people are still compounding, so the value of the plant, so if I check, that's the plant value, is almost flatlined. Now it's $0.045 per plant. However, the silver lining here is that the drop in the value of the plant is no longer as significant as it was previously. You can see the curve. It's almost at the bottom, which means the compounding ratio will become higher than the plant price ratio drop. I think today someone made a quick calculation and they showed that you still earn 3% if you keep compounding. However, the plant price is dropping less than that, around 2% maybe per day. So you're still gonna make it even with the contract dropping in value, as we saw, if you keep on compounding and if you do, for example, a 6-to-1 strategy. So 6 days of compounds, 1 day of claim, you're still gonna make it eventually. So that alone, right, not factoring whatever is coming, is something really good and something really encouraging. However, like I said, all of these events led to the decline in the garden because everything is tied up. But just look further. When the price of drip is gonna go back up, what will end up happening? The drip BUSD price will also go back up, and if you look at the curve, it's not as much of a slope compared to the contract balance or the price of a plant. So the drip BUSD LP price is still kinda holding up nicely, I would say, even with the steep decline in drip's price. So when that goes back up, the drip BUSD LP will also follow, which means that we're gonna temporarily have a higher plant price, or at least the decay will slow down really heavily and the price will stagnate. And that's very bullish in my opinion, which would lead to a contract balance to either drop less, stagnate, or even increase slightly or play in the increase-decrease range. So as the contract balance remains steady, the plant price stagnates at the bottom and the drip BUSD LP tokens increases slightly or potentially a bit more. Add all of these together, you're gonna have a recipe for a healthy garden where people are gonna be earning profits. And then you can switch up your strategy. So if you wanna do, for example, something else than 6-1, you can go for 5-2 now, for example, because you're gonna have more room to get those gains because the decay is not eating up very heavily anymore. So like every other investment that you will be doing, you have to analyze the full picture and the whole ecosystem, because like I said, everything is tied up. If you watched my previous video on the piggy bank, you'd understand that the trend is almost the same. So it all goes back to drip. When those utilities roll out, drip is gonna increase. Drip increasing will lead everything else to increase with it. This is not rocket science, this is just simple math and observation. Right? You don't need to speculate much, you don't need to go above and beyond in hopium to get the picture that eventually, when drip will go back in price, all of these slopes will reverse. And it's very obvious, so everything is correlated. Just look at the graphs, right? Just look. anyways, at the end of the day, again, you should do your own research. I'm not telling you to go now and invest into the garden. Of course, we might see more downward pressure in the short term, but in my humble opinion, the reversal could happen anytime. And I don't think it's somewhere far out into the future. So if you really want to get back into the game, try to time your entry and observe how the drip price is moving. I'm not saying that this is the order, right? Drip price first, then garden, then piggy bank, etc. The order could be different, but it's all tied up at the end of the day. So keep a zoomed in look and time your entry, and hopefully your whole outlook of the whole ecosystem will change and you'll stop separating these whole protocols, because at the end of the day, it's all part of the same thing under one umbrella. Alright, so that's it from me today. I really hope you found this video useful and you enjoyed the content. Now, if you really wanna get around all of this, if you have more questions that you wanna ask, I suggest you to come and join my community, DeFi Ascension. I'm gonna leave links in the description below. Sometimes it's better to join smaller communities outside of all the noise, because main TG channels sometimes can be hectic. So if you have any concerns and you express them over there, this might be interpreted as FUD and you might get booted out. So here, come chat with us, ask all your questions, rant all you want. You're gonna be met with logical, rational explanations, and no one is gonna warn you or kick you if you express any concern or if you go overboard sometimes. As long as you remain respectful, everything is fine. So be sure to check us out, and we're more involved than involved in so much more than just drip. So we're more involved in everything DeFi. And if you come and inspect the pinned messages, ask questions, you'll see whatever we're in. And if you find us nice people and if you find the community joyful, you can also join our teams. So many incentives in everything DeFi. So be sure to check that out. And I hope I'm gonna find you in the next one, because there will be more content coming your way about crypto, about DeFi. So stick around. And as always, take care of your finances and trade responsibly. This was Roy, R38 Crypto. Thanks for watching.